We're here at the Chronicle of Higher Education with Michael Sorrell, the president of Paul Quinn College in Dallas, Texas. Paul Quinn is a small, historically black college that has, in the recent years, survived what you might call a near-death experience by losing its accreditation. And we're happy to have you with us today, Mr. Sorrell, to talk about.
Good to see you, Eric.
Thank you very much. How did you even find out about Paul Quinn College? You were educated at Oberlin University, Oberlin College, and Duke University, where you got your law degree. How did you even find out about Paul Quinn, and what was it about the college that made you want to take a leadership role there?
Sure. So I moved to Dallas. I was recruited there out of law school, went to work for a big law firm. I was a securities lawyer. And when I moved to Texas, I didn't know anyone except for the people at the firm. And wherever I go to even visit for extended periods of time, I find places where people play basketball. I was a college basketball player, so that was always important to me. And I was steered to a game at a gym downtown, and it so happens that a lot of the people at the gym had played for Paul Quinn College. And I only had heard of the school a little bit because of their success in basketball in the 1990s. And those guys were incredibly nice to me. Some of them turned out to be my fraternity brothers. They made a stranger feel welcome in a strange land. And their wives and girlfriends invited me over to cookouts. And you know, I'm not a little guy, so that gesture was appreciated. And I'm one of those people who just believes if you are ever kind to me or my issues, I will say thank you. And so the combination of them and the kindness that they showed me, when they really didn't have to, made me feel a special affinity for their school. So when people were critical of their school, I just looked for ways in which I could help. You know, I would give money, I would speak on campus. You know, I just tried to be an asset. And that, long story short, turned into being the president of their college. Before that, I was on the board. So really, it's a combination of that and the fact that everyone in my family, with the exception of myself, went to a historically black college. So whatever I am came from the foundation of black colleges. And this is just my way of saying thank you.
Sure. Not long after you became president, the college was placed on probation. You did a lot of things that were completely the opposite of what college presidents would do. You kicked out a lot of students.
Yes.
You tore down a bunch of buildings.
Yes.
You killed the football program.
Well, they were already dead. I just,
You dismantled the football program, and as I've written about, you turned the football field into a big garden space, both for the college and the community. You know, why was all of that necessary at that point?
Well, I think you have to make a fundamental choice, right? You are either going to continue to wallow in mediocrity, or you're going to embrace the possibilities of a better tomorrow. And I come from a school of thought where, one, I am always going to be honest, right? There will be no self-delusion. There will be no illusions of grandeur, right? We weren't good enough, okay? No one, I didn't need an accreditor to tell me that. You know, I didn't need anyone else. I could look at it, right? I've been blessed with the opportunity to attend some of the nation's best schools. I know what academic rigor and I know what outstanding institutions are supposed to look like. So we made decisions based upon the long-term play. There was no point in trying to masquerade anything to put lipstick on the hog, right? This was about how do we create a foundation to then become one of America's great small colleges. That is our singular goal. So when we presented the opportunity for a new vision to the institution, and those that weren't on board with it, you know, we had to help them find places where they could be comfortable, right? Now, full disclosure, I will either go down in history as a genius or a madman. There will be no in between, because when you kick out that many students, effectively what you are saying is, we're going to take the hit on our graduation rate, we're going to take a hit on our retention rate, and these are all short term. We're going to be criticized because it's completely against conventional thought. I was not interested in conventional thought. I did not come through the ranks of higher education, so frankly, I didn't do this with the expectation of how would it jeopardize my opportunity for a career advancement, right? If all I ever do is serve as the president of Paul Quinn College, then my life has been well spent. And this was the right thing to do. So we made these decisions, and you know what? They have paid off in droves, right? I mean, when you look at it, we implemented a more selective admissions policy. which took some time to really take root, all right? But during that time, during the years that we were 200 students, 225 students, we still managed to have 6 and 7 figure surpluses, right? So we know how to run a business, but we implemented all the programs that we wanted to implement that we thought would give us the ability to become a great college. So we are now a work college, right? We measure our retention rate semester to semester. The last 2 semesters, they've been 71% and 74%. Our students are starting to get jobs at the types of places that you'd expect students from academically rigorous institutions to show up. We're recruiting a different caliber of student. We've done over $6 or $7 million of infrastructure improvements without borrowing a single penny. We're getting 7-figure gifts regularly now. I mean, everything that points to a positive direction. You can look at our partnerships, right? I mean, we've got partnerships with Duke, with UT Southwestern. We're opening a charter school in the fall. So it was highly unconventional. I pull no punches about that, but it's also been highly effective. And the best part of all of it is we're just warming up, right? We haven't even taken our great stuff off the shelf yet.
Tell me about the typical Paul Quinn student now. First of all, tell me about how many students you enroll, and what does the average student at Paul Quinn look like?
Sure. So our enrollment is up 80% since 2009. We're up to 272 students and 298, 300 total head count. The typical Paul Quinn student has changed. Right? When I got there, the average age was somewhere 27, 28 years old. They had attended a minimum of 2 to 3 colleges. Were academically very, very weak. Something around the nature of 90% of the students took intensive remedial courses. We look radically different now. The average age is down to 22. The students are coming from all over the country, New York, California, Chicago, Michigan, to complement the students coming from Texas. Our average ACT and SAT scores are all within, the ACT score is within 1 point of the national average for African American students. The SAT score is within 100 points of the national average for African American students. We're up to 12% Hispanic students. We have a presidential scholars program, which is recruiting some students from all over the country that are phenomenal students. It's a different kind of student. They have a different sense of hope and possibilities and a different set of expectations. Increasingly, they're coming to us straight out of high school, right? Which means we get the opportunity to really shape who and what they are and their expectations for life. And look, we love to have students that are older. Like, that's what our online program is for, that we've just started. But the reality of it is, great small colleges, I mean, the kind that we aspire to be, they do a fantastic job of taking students straight out of high school and turning them into transformational leaders. That's the group we want to be in. A
lot of leaders at historically black colleges often bring up this when we talk about the future of the institution. They go down this path and they say, you're going to ask me if black colleges are relevant. And that's not really my question for you. For your students, Paul Quinn is relevant. For any student at any historically black college, that institution is relevant. What I want to know is Paul Quinn sustainable?
Yeah, see, I think that's a fantastic question. We're absolutely sustainable, but we're sustainable for a very different reason. If you look across the higher education landscape, there is no one that is more innovative than we are, right? If you look at, I mean, just take a look at using your resources you have efficiently and effectively and pushing the envelope, right? We're going to be sustainable because we represent the new urban college model. We think that institutions in cities have a responsibility to engage in the issues that are of importance to those citizens. We're in a food desert, right? So we're creating an urban food distribution network. People always laughed about the farm and, you know, how could you cut your football program, turn it into, I was like, first of all, they lost every game, right? So it really wasn't any big loss. But we were in a food desert. And we had the ability to do something about that. So we did it. Now, what's coming up in short order will be a grocery store, and will also be a little pop-up restaurant concept that we're developing, because those are the issues that matter. That is relevancy to the community that you serve. The charter school is K through 12, and is going to focus on sustainability. So we're the first environmental charter school in the state of Texas, right? And the folks who have created the concept came from Austin College, right, which is another one of America's preeminent small colleges, which is the kind of partnerships we should have. We're developing this model of applied research, right? So my research area is how you transform small urban colleges into anchor institutions for their communities, right? Well, we have a partnership with Duke where next semester 8 Paul Quinn students and 8 Duke students are going to go to school together. They're going to live together. So part of the semester they'll live at Duke, part of the semester they'll live together at Paul Quinn. After that, they'll all be in therapy for a year. But once they come out of therapy, they'll appreciate it. But the subject matter is sustainability and economic development in under-resourced communities. We have another partnership with UT Southwestern, which is addressing mental wellness issues of students from urban areas. So if you begin to look at what we're carving out and the example we're setting, we're doing things no one else is doing. No one else at this level is doing from the perspective that we're doing. We have created an economic rigor model that involves the work college concept, which allows us to economically support our students, but also create workforce training and habits that our students would never have had. So it gives them a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So when you look at all of these things, what it comes down to is just a simple notion that apparently everywhere else understands but higher education. In higher education, they think revolutions start from above. Revolutions never start from above. Like, look at the history of man. They start from below. They start from a small group of committed individuals that identify an area that they're unhappy about and are willing to lay it all on the line to change. And we are willing to lay it all on the line to change the nature of under-resourced communities. Now, I don't know if everyone else is sustainable. What I can tell you is institutions that are willing to commit themselves to the issues of the people that they serve and educate will always be sustainable. We will be that model. We will become one of America's great small colleges by focusing on students from those communities and, as they say in the great state of Texas, and coaching them up. So yeah, we're absolutely sustainable.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to talk with you.